What's up, travelers? Welcome back to the channel. SJ Aviation HQ here. Welcome back to the channel today. Today we had the model review of the All Nippon Airways Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner released by NG Models, of course, wearing the Future Promise livery. Before though, if you like what you see on this channel and you want to come along and support me even further, go ahead and leave a thumbs up below. Very great indication of how much you enjoyed today's video and of course the content here on this channel. Whilst you're there, if you want to come along and support me even further, more than that, go ahead and subscribe below. It will help me out a lot. And whilst you're there, go ahead and ding the bell icon to get the notifications on. Make sure you set the notifications to all so you get all of the notifications as soon as the videos go live onto the channel. I have a great array of videos coming out very soon. If you want to go ahead and check out my what's in the works, go ahead and check out my community tab. I have announced what is in the works at the moment. So thank you very much in advance for any support that you show on this channel in the near future. Thank you very much. But anyway, here we have the model review of this All Nippon Airways Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner released by NG Models, of course wearing the Future Promise livery. This model here was released by NG Models in their December 2022 release, so very cool. It was released alongside the Dash 9 that I also have. If you want to see that model review, that model in a model review up close to the camera, let me know in the comments below and I'll get that out for you guys. So moving on into the video, I'm going to read out some information about All Nippon Airways as an airline, and then some information about this particular airframe before showing you the box. So founded on December the 27th, 1952 and commencing operations in December of 1957, All Nippon Airways is a Japanese airline with hubs at Tokyo, Haneda and Narita International Airports, and secondary hubs at Osaka Atami and Kansai International Airport, where they operate services both domestically and internationally to some 95 destinations as of February of 2025. According to planespotters.net, All Nippon Airways has an aircraft fleet consisting of 240 aircraft, including 87 Boeing 787 Dreamliner wide bodies, which makes up 33 of the 787-8s, 44 of the 787-9s, and 10 of the 787-10s. All Nippon Airways was the launch customer airline of the Boeing 787 Dreamliner series, taking delivery of its first Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner on September the 21st of 2011. So very cool indeed. Let's go ahead and read out some information about this particular airframe for you guys. So this aircraft's MSN number or manufacturer serial number is 34503. This aircraft has the line number of 358, which means this aircraft was the 358th 787 to roll out for Boeing. This aircraft here is a 10-year-old Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner, which performed its first flight on October the 20th of 2015. And was built and produced in Charleston, South Carolina, the second of the factories for Boeing, of course, with the where the main production line is for the 787 series. Of course, they do still have the production line where they originated in Everett, Plainfield, north of Seattle, but of course the majority of the production line for the 787 wide bodies are now in Charleston, so that's very nice indeed. This aircraft is currently active on the network for All Nippon Airways, wearing the registration of Juliet Alpha 874 Alpha or JA874A, for those that aren't too familiar with the phonetic alphabet. Again, a Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner, which was delivered to All Nippon Airways on November the 11th of 2015. This aircraft is configured into the layout which has 42 business class seats and 198 economy seats, so very cool. This aircraft is equipped with two Rolls-Royce Trent 1000 engines and was ferried between Charleston and Tokyo Haneda between November the 13th and 14th of 2015 on its delivery flight. Of course, it would have crossed the international date line, which is why there's the two dates there. and this aircraft was painted into the All Nippon Airways Future Promise livery in November of 2022. So that's some pretty interesting information there. Of course, all the sources of where I find my information will be in the description below as always. So that without that information out of the way, let's go ahead and check out the box. So here is the stunning box. As mentioned, this model was released alongside the Dash 9, which I have, which is registered as Juliet Alpha 871 Alpha instead of the 4, so very cool. Here we have on the top of the box, we have the Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner text there, the trademark text there, very cool. Here we have the 2D rendering of the livery, looking fantastic as always. Here we have the All Nippon Airways logo here. Of course, that's what ANA stands for, the abbreviation of All Nippon Airways. And then we have the registration, Juliet Alpha 874 Alpha. And here is the licensing for Boeing and the 787. Here we have the NG Models logo in white. And then we have the scale of the aircraft, of course, one different scale, and of course in die-cast metal. Here on the bottom panel we have where it says that it is a Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner, and then we have the logo of NG Models. To the rendering of the aircraft with the registration below that. And then here we have the barcode with the item number on it, so very cool. Here we have a bit of the same details on the right hand panel this side with the Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner text there, the NG Models logo, All Nippon Airways logo there as well, and the green text of where it says the scale and the die-cast metal information. This side is identical to the bottom side, but a different color, different shade of green in the background. And then here is the same details on the opposite side, on the right side. This is the left-hand side, but of course with the different details where it goes from dark green, white to light green opposed to the other side. So very cool. I do like how it has all of the branches and the leaves that are on the livery here. Very cool. And of course the globe type logo here, or symbol here, it's just there on the livery there. So very cool. On the back of the box, however, we have the NG Models logo in white, the 2D rendering of the aircraft in the middle, where it says the social handles, the Facebook, the Instagram, and of course the website. The licensing information again, the barcode with the item number, the warning information, and of course where it was made. Of course, China. It was based in Guangzhou, I believe. So of course, this being in a special livery opposed to their regular livery for All Nippon Airways, as of course it's usually a navy blue and sort of like a sky royal blue. This livery is also seen, as I mentioned, on the 787-9 and also on, I believe it's still on, a Bombardier Q400. Of course, the livery was designed to promote the commitment for All Nippon Airways for the sustainability of aviation initiatives, a bit like the SAF livery that's seen on the United 787-9, which I would like to see a release of by NG Models. Of course, SAF abbreviated for Sustainable Aviation Fuel. So that's very cool. That's why you can see, wonder if it's better seen on this side. Maybe you can just see there on the globe that there's like a hand, a green hand symbol that's below the globe. So that's pretty cool. So that's pretty much it for this portion of the video. The reading out of the information about the airline, and of course the reading out of the details about the aircraft and the operation of the history of the aircraft, and the showcasing of the box. So let's go ahead and check out the model. And here is the absolutely stunning All Nippon Airways Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner wearing this Future Promise livery by NG Models. This model released by NG Models in their December 2022 release. And in this portion of the video, I'm showcasing the model up close to the camera for you guys, giving you some nice up close shots of the details on this aircraft, whilst giving you some information about what some of the components do in the event of a flight. So let's go ahead and dive in straight into the review of the model. First and foremost, zooming into the aircraft. And then getting it up close to the camera for you guys. And doesn't this model look absolutely fantastic? Very nice indeed. I do also have the Dash 9 in this livery. So if anyone would like to see the model review of that aircraft, let me know in the comments below and I'll get that out for you guys. Now here we have in the front portion of the aircraft, we can make out the nose cone. Underneath that is the component called the weather radar. Now the weather radar is there to detect storms on the flight path of a flight, to give the pilots or anyone who's in the cockpit the visual indication of the rainfall intensity ahead of them, and of course the possibility of turbulence as well. This enables them or the crew to navigate around any potentially hazardous areas along the flight plan that they've assigned for their flight. Above that, we can make out the window wipers there, and of course the 4 window shields that make up the cockpit windows, looking fantastic. I do like how entry models have put the black outline around the window shields there for the cockpit. Other brands, like an example that I have in my collection is the Dreams Take Flight livery by JC Wings. I believe I have done a model review of that. Check it out, top right corner right about now. But you'll see in that video the cockpit windows are very hard to make out against the purple color on the nose of the aircraft. So I do like how NG models have bordered them around, put a border around it, so it's very nice to see. Here we have the Star Alliance logo. Of course, they joined the alliance some time ago. I'll put the date on the screen right here, right about now for you guys. For one of the main, major carriers in that alliance, so very cool. Here we have the angle of attack sensor just in the middle of the shot here, otherwise known as the AOA sensor. That offers a visual indication of the amount of lift the wings are generating at a given airspeed or angle of bank. Below that, we can make out the pitot tubes. Now, the pitot tubes are there to measure fluid flow velocity during a flight. Here we have the nose gear, as you can see, rolling freely on the axis there with 874 on the registration. So on the gear doors there, of course, they are the numbers in the registration of this aircraft. Of course, Juliet Alpha 874 Alpha being the registration of this aircraft. Here we have the ALF 1 boarding door. The one of the 2 main boarding doors are on this aircraft. Other one is just down here. Of course, the letter L to represent the word left, as of course this is the left-hand side. On the other side, you'll see the R doors for the right-hand side. Very nice. Here is the flag of Japan, just here, and the All Nippon Airways logo here. Here we have the 9 windows in between the L1 and L2 doors. The easiest way to identify whether this is a Dash 8, Dash 9 or a Dash 10 in terms of the 787 variants. Of course, to be able to tell by the sheer length, or at least the shortest length of the 787-8, as it is quite stubby compared to the Dash 9 and Dash 10. I believe the Dash 9 has 14 windows in between the 2 doors, and the Dash 10 has 19. So very nice, easy way to identify whether this is a Dash 8, 9, or 10. So very cool. Of course, it'd be quite difficult to count the windows when the aircraft is moving at a quick speed. So the length of the aircraft would be quite an easier way there. Here we have one of the decals on this aircraft that is seen on the box. Very cool. As you can see, the little branch that's above the grey bit of the fuselage. Here we have the L2 door. Of course, the second of the main boarding doors on this aircraft. Here we have an antenna. Then we have a SATCOM behind that. That of course provides the IFE, info entertainment, on board the aircraft, and of course the Wi-Fi as well. One of the main things that is not present on this aircraft is of course the beacon light on top of the fuselage here. Would be where that circle is in the middle of the shot just there. But of course they really should start to put a red dot for where the beacon light would be. Because the beacon light is there as a safety precaution device. Of course, the color red should represent the like a stop, a traffic light, the stop message, because the beacon light is there to give the message for when the engines are either about to be turned on or are in active, actively running. Here we have down below the branch. Here we have the pedostatic system that is there to that is used to determine an aircraft's airspeed, Mach number, altitude, and altitude trend during a flight. Just here in the middle of the shot, we can see the wing light, and that is there to illuminate light onto the wing, the leading edge of the wing here, and of course the side of the engine. Very cool. Here we have the mounted wing light here, or the landing light into the wing here, just on the fairing. Of course, the fairing being the joining of the fuselage and the wing. But here we have, as I mentioned, the landing light on the wing. The mandatory usage of this device here is, of course, when when the aircraft is rotating, just about to go on its takeoff run out of an active runway. Between 0 and 10,000 feet is where it is meant to be used. Above 10,000 feet, it can be turned off. Very cool. Here we have this side's engine being the Rolls-Royce Trent 1000 engine. Very cool, as you can see, the blue Rolls-Royce logo there. On the top of the engine, you just make out here the vortex generator that is there to to deflect any airflow against the leading edge of the wing directly behind the engine. Very cool. This is what makes that vapor trail type thing or phenomenon that you see when the aircraft is rotating out of an airfield or an airport. Very cool. Here is the look of inside the fan blades there, looking fantastic. And of course, we can see the clamshell chevron design on the rear of the nacelle here, also seen on the 737 MAX series, and of course the modern day 747-8 variants, whether that is the intercontinental or the freighter variant. Very cool. And of course the nice looking exhaust there. Here we have the aircraft's landing gear, as you can see, rolling on the axis there. Doing a fantastic job with the ANA Future Promise decaling here. Very cool. Moving down the aircraft, we can make out the L3 door, not so much a boarding door, just mainly an emergency exit door. Very cool. And with, of course, above the cabin doors, the cabin windows, we can make out the inspiration of Japan. That is the that is a slogan, or somewhat of a slogan that is seen on the majority of All Nippon Airways' aircraft in their entire fleet, of course. Here we have the only antenna that is on the bottom of the aircraft here. Very nice. Then moving down the aircraft, we can see Air Japan. Very nice. Of course, I do have a subsidiary airline called Air Japan. Unfortunately, we'll be going out of service in the next few months, but of course in February 2025 or March 2025. I do have a model of the Dash 8, so that should be going up for sale very soon. Here we have a baggage compartment or a cargo compartment just below the Japanese flag there. Some antennas on top of the fuselage just in front of the tail fin. Here we have the L4 door. Can be used as a boarding door via the air stairs that are on the apron, or disembarking the aircraft, going on to the buses that will be leading you to or taking you to the airport's terminal. Very cool. And here we have the aircraft's registration at Juliet Alpha 874 Alpha. Very nice indeed. And then here we have the green tail fin of this livery with the All Nippon Airways logo on it. Of course, usually blue if this was the regular livery, but of course it isn't. So I do like how they've improvised the blue into the green for this type of livery, so very cool. And then we get down to this part of the aircraft being the elevators, when you can see the small grey dots there, or silver dots, depending on what the lighting is that you're looking at, of course. This, of course, these, of course, are the tail lights or logo lights. As the name suggests, they light up the tail fin, specifically the tail fin's logo. That provides an identification to the ATC or anyone who is in the control tower of who the airline is. As of course, this would be All Nippon Airways in this case. Can be used also as a marketing tool for anyone within or around the airport, to give them the sense to want to fly the aircraft or the airline, and of course for anyone who is doing night spotting at the airport, it would be a great way to light up the tail fin. Very cool. Here we have the auxiliary power unit, the full name of the abbreviation for the APU, an additional engine on board the aircraft. Just to the side of the engine here, we can make out, sorry, not the engine, the tail fin here, just in front of my finger here, we can make out the inlet door for the APU. Very nicely done there. Nice to see that the entry models have included that on there. One thing that I haven't really pointed out, that on top of the wings we've got some details opposed to some of the other airlines. We've got the red dot here, or red sphere circle type emblem here that's seen on the Japanese flag, and then we got we'll have the orange rectangle with a black outline. I'm not too sure what this detail here is to signify. I think it's only seen on All Nippon Airways aircraft, so let me know in the comment section below if you know what these details are meant to represent. That would be fantastic for future updates. Here we have some differences on this side of the aircraft. On the top of the cockpit, we can make out the emergency escape hatch for the cockpit, of course, for where the pilots are to evacuate the aircraft if the doors aren't available to use, of course. Here we have, in the middle of the shot, we can make out the forward baggage compartment with some details of the special livery, with the E-tops just written here below the door. Very cool. Moving down the aircraft, we can see the rear baggage compartment just in the middle of the shot, with some details just here above the wing for the SAF flight initiative. Of course, SAF is there to as an abbreviation for sustainable aviation fuel, which of course is why the aircraft is in green, similar to the Etihad Dreamliner livery seen on the 787-10. I have done the model review of that by NG Models. Go ahead and check it out, top right corner right about now. Of course, that Etihad's livery is usually gold. That livery, of course, is in a mint green color. I didn't show the navigation lights before, or at least the wings in general, but here we have a green navigation light on this side of the wing. On the other side, if I can get the model to in that angle, we can see the red navigation light just at the end here. There would be some strobe lights here, but of course there isn't on this model. Of course, the strobe lights are those those white bright flashing lights. Of course, in the event of flight for a 787, these would flash once very brightly. If this was an Airbus, they would flash twice in sequence. And of course, we have the rate wingtips here, very nicely done for the 787, and of course the registration upside down there, Juliet Alpha 874 Alpha. Very cool. And indeed, let's have a look at the bottom of the aircraft momentarily. At the front here, we have the nose gear door. Of course, that's where, of course, the nose gear would retract into or extend out of. Very cool. Nicely done mold of the 787. I do quite like the mold that NG Models uses for their 787s. Let me know in the comments below what you like about this mold, or who you think the best 787 mold belongs to. I'm quite on par with saying that NG Models is one of the best, if not the best. Aviation wanted to do a good mold for the 787s. I'm not really a fan of the magnetic gears. I have had a few issues with some of the models that I've recently had in my collection come in with the magnetic gears. But anyway, the beacon light on the bottom of the aircraft here with the stand hole and the grey outline of where the landing gear doors would be. Nicely detailed gears on the bottom here, and details of the bottom of these Rolls-Royce engines. Nicely done, with some nice details of the flaps and the slats. The slats, of course, on the top of the wings, and looking at this view, and of course the flaps on the bottom with the aileron in the middle here. The spoilers are on top of the wings, which I'll show you in a moment, but here we have that red sphere looking dot here again, and of course the registration on the other side of the wing, looking fantastic. Here we have the outline, the red outline of where the ram air turbine would be, the RAT. Of course the propeller light device that comes down below the fuselage to give electrical assistance to the engines when they are in need of assistance. Very cool. And then moving down the fuselage, we can see the entryway to the APU just here. Of course, that's an easy access way for anyone who is doing groundwork or on the APU. Very cool indeed. As I just mentioned, here is the top of the wing with the spoilers just above the flaps there. Very nicely done. And of course, I believe that's the probe for where the fuel comes out of when the if they are needing to dump fuel. Very cool indeed. A very nice model overall. I am quite a fan of it. If you are wanting to get your hands on it, I would definitely go ahead and get one for yourselves. We definitely recommend to getting one, of course. Of course, that will pretty much do it for today's video of the model review of this All Nippon Airways Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner in the ANA All Nippon Future Promise livery. Was this model here released by NG Models in their December 2022 release. If you did enjoy what you saw in today's video, go ahead and leave a thumbs up below. Great indication of what you enjoyed in today's video, and of course the content here on this channel. Want to come along and support me even further, go ahead and subscribe to the channel below. And of course, whilst you're there, go ahead and click the notification bell. Make sure you set the notifications to all, because of course that will be a great leeway to receive the notifications as soon as the videos go live onto the channel. Comment below what you enjoyed in today's video, if you like the mold of this aircraft and of course the livery itself, or if you want to give any feedback of what you enjoyed, or any feedback in general for what I can improve on in my model reviews. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you want to go ahead and support my whereabouts on social media, go ahead and scan the QR code you can see on the screen now. That will lead you straight to my Instagram page, the other main platform that I have here on social media for Ashton International Airport and my model airport in general. That will be the place where you can see the full array of model photos that I have, and of course the ins and outs of the news and updates about my network for my model airport. If you want to go ahead and scan the QR code you can see on the screen now, that will lead you straight to my Linktree page, which has all of the main links that I have in my catalogue for social media, so go ahead and check that out if you wish to. Thank you very much for any support on this video or my social media channels in advance, of course. So that would do it for today's video, guys. Thank you very much for coming along and tuning in into today's video, the model review of this All Nippon Airways Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner wearing this Future Promise livery by NG Models, as mentioned, released in the December 2022 release. If you liked what you saw and you want to see some more content like this on this channel, on the end screen there'll be some options for you guys. On the left hand side will be my most recent video here on the channel. On the right hand side will be the 4 playlists I've done so far of model reviews on this channel. And of course in the middle will be where you can subscribe. But until next time, guys, fly safe, stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.